Okay, so the dark times. Well, half of it's dark times. You'll understand soon. The first thing is I'm now moved back into my hometown. I'm living with my grandmother, um, largely because my parents have a new property out in a adjacent little town. I mean, it's adjacent. And my military brother and his children are living in our old house. So I'm living with my grandmother at this point, which is fun. Um, going to just starting out college, depressed, drinking. Still not very heavily as I would have wanted to have been at that time, largely because I was not 21. And as such, my grandmother was not the type to go out and buy me my alcohol. I mean, come on. That'd be asinine if she was. It's facts of life. Let's live with it. Um, I'm still uncomfortable in my body. Nobody in Billings knows my sexuality. Well, I just said my hometown. Billings, Montana. Hometown. Cool. Whatever. That's not where I live now. So, I start plodding my way through that first semester. I thought it was just residual stuff from leaving Missoula, Montana, and the School of Music there. Just trying to cope and adjust. Um, but in April, 1 week after my 21st birthday, my mother finally lost her battle to cancer. And obviously, she's no longer with me, which is bad because my mother was the parent that I actually cared for. And I know my other parent's going to see this eventually, but, and I'll get to this later, they understand. They understand. But my mom died. And although I didn't go into suicide this time that summer, I started drinking heavily. Thankfully, I was wearing panties at least again, which felt better, but still not right. Nothing was right in my life. Not admitting it still to anybody. And I was depressed and drinking. Then along came August of 2014, and I met someone. What? Really quick before I get into that, one of my ways that I had to cope with my inadequacies and try to prove my masculinity to myself, to brothers, all of that, was sex. And I mean, I was bisexual, so I was having sex with pretty much anybody, but always safe, never contracted anything because I was safe. I can't stress that enough. And the person I met replied to an ad I had posted online. And we met. Sorry, just remembering that night. I mean, you don't post an ad on Craigslist looking for a cheap lay and expect to meet your soulmate. You just don't. Yes, I did just say Craigslist. That is how broken, depressed I was. But I met my wife. I met Sabrina. Which is the fourth best feeling in my life. I start up that semester of school, and I start fucking up grades, because I'm happy I met her, but I'm still depressed. I mean, my mom died. Everything's still wrong with me. I told her about how I used to cross-dress, because at this time, I was just admitting I was a cross-dresser. That's what I thought I was. That I was just a sad, pathetic cross-dresser trying to fill a gap in my life and all that, but she thought it was hot. She thought it was hot. She thought I could be cute. And so she cared about that part of me. I'm not doing great in school that semester. And along comes November, she gets pregnant. I don't find out till December. She gets pregnant. And when she told me, I did two things very quickly. I finished that semester of school and did not register for another, and I pretty much stopped drinking. Now, I would still enjoy, and I still do enjoy the occasional beer, the occasional hard cider, the occasional glass of wine, but I never cross that line into tipsy. I just don't. I don't enjoy it. It's not me, and it's detrimental to my health and to my life. But my girlfriend and then fiance was pregnant, and a feeling that I hadn't had since high school came about me. And it was a feeling of drive and purpose. The more I think about it, the reason why I didn't realize in high school what was wrong is because I've had an insane schedule. I'm not kidding. I'd be up at 5 a.m. to be in an early morning class or in the band room practicing. Then every single day after school, I was either going up to the college to be in their ensembles, or I had after school stuff with high school for music. I mean, I was getting home 8 o'clock at night every night, staying up till 1, frequently doing homework, 4 hours of sleep for, wow, 2.5 years almost. I'm not kidding. That's really what I lived on. I lived on that, caffeine, and cigarettes. Yes, I was a smoker. I am no longer a smoker. I quit smoking 2 days before I met Sabrina, which at this point puts me at 27 months. Damn straight. If I had to pick between smoking and drinking, I'd pick drinking any day. Smoking is a filthy habit, but we're not getting into that. But I felt drive and purpose. My fiance was pregnant. I needed to get my shit together, so I started job hunting. At this time, I was working part-time for Hastings. Which, if you're not familiar with what Hastings was, because they're closed now, closing, I think they're finally wrapping up their clearance sales to finally liquidate from their bankruptcy. Hastings was an entertainment store. Books, movies, music, video games, popular culture stuff. Great store. Oh, God. So great. I'll miss it. I will always miss Hastings. Frickin' tragedy that it's gone. Absolute tragedy. But I was working there looking for a full-time job, and that was consuming my life, which was good, because when I get on a drive and a focus, something that has to be done that is all-encompassingly important, I do it. And come end of February of 2015, I received a call from a temp agency that they wanted me to interview for a position with Wells Fargo in a call center that handles calls from bankers. It's a support call center for bankers who didn't know what to do. I took the interview, I got the job. Part-time temp, working 40 hours a week. It was a full-time job. It was great. I stuck with it. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed the helping people. The real me, Jaina, is very submissive by nature, wanting to please, and all of that. So working in that situation made me feel good. It felt good. It was a good fit. And to be honest, if I wasn't back in college, I'd still be there enjoying my job. Getting really fat, because a desk job makes you bloom, especially when you're doing exercise, but this is going away. And then 2 weeks before my wedding, on June 27th, 2015, I got hired full-time by Wells Fargo itself in that call center. Married June 27, 2015. Less than 2 months later, my son was born on August 9th. Fifth greatest feeling. I mean, it's really hard to say these greatest feelings things. I mean, the top 5 greatest feelings of my life, they're all like this for leveling. They're just interconnected and rare. There it is. Next to impossible to tell them apart. This is how it is. month after he was born, I decided I did not want to be that deadbeat parent who dropped out of college. It was time to make amends with the people I had hurt in Missoula and come back, finish my degree. That's what I did. On January 9th, 2016, my family, just my wife, child, and I, moved to Missoula. That's where we live now. I'm working on 2 degrees, music education and history education. She's working on an associate's in medical assisting. And my son is rocking it out in daycare. But I think we're going to go ahead and just take this video to current. It'll be a little longer, but it's fine. But I started making amends with people. Having a kid had mellowed me out. But ever since about October of last year, so about a year, my depression and the knowing something was wrong became present again. I mean, let me clarify, it was always there. It never, ever left. I have to reposition. It never left me. It was always there. I just had something else to focus on that was more important. That was the health of my wife and child, which is now secure. But I made those amends. I'm successfully back at the University of Montana. And here's the thing. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. Now, the ultimate bombshell, and I'm not going to go into huge detail here because I do not have her permission to go into huge detail here, so I'll be as vague as I can while still getting my point across. My father had become increasingly distant since September of 2015. Very distant, very withdrawn, very weird. Which I didn't care because I hate him. I was going, sweet, I don't have to put up with his phone calls, I don't have to put up with any of that crap. It felt good. Then came Memorial Day of this year. We found out the truth, and this is where you're going to be kind of weirded out. Found out that my father was transgender. But not in the traditional sense. It's a weird genetic thing, possibly related to an injury he had to his testes. His body, without any medical induction, began to transition itself. Okay? Like, I'm transgender. I'm going to a doctor. I'm going to get on pills to transition, to make those changes. His body just started making them. And his options were kill himself or don't control the transition and maybe end up a monster, because, I mean, imagine all your hormones and everything jacking up and changing without control. That can't be good. And third option was to properly transition. So, unlike me, my father was born a man. That's just the truth. But, yeah, there's that. Came out to the family on Memorial Day. Now successful. I mean, she's engaged. I call her mom. So from now on, when you hear me talk about mom, I'm not talking about my dead mother, who I miss dearly. I'm talking about my new mother, who I hated my dad. Oh God, I did. I love my mom. She's a kind, caring individual who actually is present, even though she lives in Billings. And here's the thing. In about February, March, I had admitted to myself what I was. I admitted to myself that I'm transgender, and my plan was, and call me an idiot, I deserve it, my plan was wait for my father and grandmother to die, particularly my grandmother, because I didn't want to put her through this stress and everything. However, my mother transitioning kind of was a wake-up call to my grandmother. Oh, by the way, my father's mother died while I was in high school. Good riddance. She was a bitch. So it was just my mom's mom left. But it prepped her for this. And this last Friday, I came out to my mother and my wife. I knew my mother would be supportive. I mean, it'd be hypocritical as all hell for her not to be, especially since she currently works for Billings Clinic and is working with transgender patients there. I mean, it'd be horrible of her to not be supportive. But my wife loves me dearly. We're both bisexual. She loves me. She makes me wear girl clothes full time at home. And again, I'm not wearing right now because of a purpose, which we'll get to in just a minute. I promise. While we were in Billings, I can't believe I didn't mention this, Sabrina and she'd get me all dressed up and we'd go out in public with me as a girl, and it felt amazing. I thought it was just cross-dressing. I hadn't admitted to myself then. This was 18 months ago. We ran into my oldest brother at Walmart one day. He didn't recognize me. Ran into my high school best friend, ran into his sisters once at the mall in Billings, and they couldn't recognize me. Felt amazing. So, here I am. My entire family knows. A large portion of my classmates know. My professors don't yet, largely because for me, coming out on a personal basis is fairly easy, but a lot of my professors I've known for close to a decade. And there's a professional aspect to them that makes me nervous. I'll be fine. It's unwarranted nerves, but I'll be fine. Classmates know. My wife makes me dress full-time at home. And I'm going to apologize because I'm not going to take the time right now to do everything I would normally do to be ready. I'm going to show you who I am, and all my future videos posted will have me as me, Jaina. It's time to say goodbye to James. It's time. I struggled long enough. I have an incredibly supportive family, supportive class base, and it's time. Until I can grow my hair out, wigs are better than this hair. Like, this hair is horrible to cope with. My name is Jaina. It's time for me to live my life. Tomorrow, I see a doctor for the first time. I couldn't be happier. I honestly couldn't be. I'm already working on hair removal. And by the start of the next semester, I should be going to school full-time as me for the first time in my life as me. Thank you for watching these. I will update you as I go. But as far as I am concerned in real life, James Rubich is dead. My name is Jaina. I am a transgendered woman. And to any of you who see this, who are feeling the same way or going through it, there is no reason to be afraid. Be who you are. It's your right. This is the 21st century. We are in a position to actually be able to be true to who we are supposed to be. Thank you for watching. Thank you. It's going to be a hell of a ride. But my son thinks I look funny in a good way. He's 14 months old. He's not scared of this. Well, my wife, unless we're in public, won't call me by my other name. And actually, she is now knocking at the door, so I'm going to go let her in. Goodbye.